Are you willing to take us through the New Orleans Pelicans so I can set up the timer and the timestamp?
Absolutely. Their key free agents include Josh Richardson and Jackson Hayes, who is restricted. Some extension eligible candidates: Herb Jones is up to 4 years and $75 million. I would pay him twice that much, probably. Maybe not quite that much. I just wanted to get your reaction. Or for 75 for Herb Jones seems pretty sweet, though. I would do that.
I'm pretty sure that's what his extension will end up at, but it's like that's fluid because of the cap stuff.
Yeah. Jose Alvarado, Brandon Ingram is eligible for a max extension of up to 3 more years. Seems unlikely. So they have the mini MLE, about $6 million under the tax if they renounce free agent rights to Josh Richardson and Jackson Hayes to take their cap holds off the book. No trade exceptions. So I will just throw the need out there for that we've talked about forever. I think you still need a rim protector who can spread the floor at center, which is hard to find. But it ain't Jonas Valanciunas. So if you're going to build this team around Zion, which maybe is iffier now than it has been in years past because he's bubbled up in some trade talks, you still just need that guy that will offer you shooting to clear the lane for him on offense and defend the rim, because the Pelicans just don't have, other than Jones and maybe Dyson Daniels, enough, shutdown guys out there. So anything I missed there needs wise that you would target for New Orleans, and if there's anyone you'd like to throw out there, we could get to that.
No, let's just move on. No, so they're gonna be, unless they dump salary, and maybe they'll use part of the mini MLE. But as of right now, you're already getting rid of talent to stay beneath the tax line in Jackson Hayes and Josh Richardson. And so I just don't know, when you're looking at prospective free agents that they could go after, Danny Green, Trey Lyles, do they take a flyer on Mo Bamba if he gets waived by the Lakers? Seth Curry. And so I think if they make any big changes, it'll be on the trade market. And I agree with all your needs. Or maybe because I don't think they're even going to believe like, Kyra Lewis Jr., really going to lean on him this year at the point spot, and that's how we're going to vary up our attacks. I think we haven't talked about on this podcast, I don't think the Zion Williamson reports of the Pelicans are open to moving him. Apparently, I do not. I want to make this clear. We discussed the idea for Bleacher Report on a live stream. I do not expect them to move him, but I do think it makes sense that they're probably more open to it now based off his. And I don't want to get into that off court stuff just because as far as we know, everything was. We don't need to get into the off court stuff. The circumstances just do not warrant it. But there were reports that the Pelicans are concerned about it. But there's also been reports that he's never been more committed to New Orleans or the organization. But then they get rid of Teresa Witherspoon, who was apparently instrumental in building the relationship with him. And then you also hear reports that, he's not as close with his teammates, or CJ McCollum might have hinted at that. It's just all over the place. I think it's smart to be open to it, but I just keep coming back to the fact, I don't think you need to trade Brandon Ingram or Zion. I want to make that clear. I just think Zion is the transcendent talent of the two, even if Brandon Ingram is more reliable. And I'm a little bit surprised. I guess the availability, if you're tired of it and aggrieved by it, and we don't know about everything behind the scenes, I understand it. So I get being open to it. I would be firmly against trading Zion or Brandon Ingram. I want to just make that absolutely clear. If the team's going to make meaningful changes, to me, it should be aggressively work the trade market in search of the upgrades and better fitting players that you need.
Yeah, I generally agree, but I would trade him for number 3 if Scoot was there. I would just do it.
You would just trade Zion for Scoot straight up.
I think, obviously that isn't how it works, but just if you're talking just purely, this is the asset, I would rather have Scoot starting his rookie deal than Zion where he is right now with all the stuff we know that we've learned health wise. I take your point that we've just gotten so many conflicting reports about, his commitment and just how in is he and all that other stuff. It does feel like for virtually his whole career, there have been questions about whether it's he's rehabbing in Portland, all, country away from the team. He's not staying in shape. There's all this other stuff that there's been enough of that to where I have legitimate doubts as to whether, he's ever going to be as valuable as he was while healthy this past season. That's on the table that may be there. So I'd just rather have Scoot, but I don't know that that's a realistic possibility for the Pelicans. So
and if you're trading him, I know that's stupid because it's Scoot, but if that's the trade for Zion Williamson, you're almost trading him at the nadir of his value.
Right, that's the other for you. Absolutely are like there's
which
no
is wild to
question.
say because it's the number 3 pick, and then you're consigning yourself to still a longer. I know you have CJ and Brandon Ingram and other players who could win. Trey Murphy's amazing right now, but I'm just like, how much does this team? Let's just say Gary Trent Jr. opts in, or you're able to get Miles Turner and using the salary filler. So you're not giving up any of your core and picks. And you're able to get one of those guys. And Gary Trent Jr., I don't think the cost would be all that much, but the Raptors don't need another big. But a player like that, how much, if Zion Williamson is this team they were at the top of the West for a minute. So I'm even saying they might not even need anyone just because of how good Trey Murphy is. I do worry I need the shooting because I'm probably lower on Herb Jones's offense than a lot of other people. Congratulations on him, nudging up his 3-point clip on on very little volume towards the end of the year. I still don't think he's made enough progress as sort of the catch and drive guy. So I would like to see better spacing. And if Zion's going to be on the floor, that's kind of one non-shooter. And you don't have in Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. Yeah, they can kind of stretch the floor, but they like to work on ball, don't put a ton of pressure on the basket. So either getting that floor spacing rim protector or someone who is just going to fly around and chuck a bunch of threes like a Gary Trent Jr. is a name. And we can get into other trade targets if you have any. Those are the types of moves. I don't think it needs to be this massive star trade. I think it could even be, I want you can throw out names. If you're able to get even a Zach Collins from San Antonio or a Kelly Olynyk, I think that makes a huge difference for this team.
Yeah, I do think there's a path forward where you just keep this team together essentially, and some combination of Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, Najee Marshall, Trey Murphy, just get better. And then, Trey Murphy suddenly is, making 4 threes a game at, 44% or something. And we're looking at each other laughing at, we thought the Pelicans needed shooting, there's ways forward for sure. You mentioned Zach Collins and Olynyk. Maxi Kleber is someone that makes a lot of sense. The problem is he also makes ridiculous amounts of sense for Dallas, and they just can't afford to be giving up a guy like that without getting 2+ rotation players back because they just need them. I don't know.
Does Rocco give you enough shooting to play with Zion in the front court? Probably not.
I wonder if Rocco can play anymore. Doesn't it feel like maybe
Rocco can play? The Clippers just decided that he couldn't, and I don't understand it.
It's a real Frank Ntilikina situation there.
Would you take I don't even know if he's a distressed asset and being the same Tim Hardaway Jr. Did you do that for that? The Mavericks do still need a center. You could build something around Valanciunas and Tim Hardaway Jr.
What if JaMychal Green actually gets minutes and makes 36% of his threes? That'd be kind of your lower end. There's your stretch center.
Are you trusting him to defend fives? That's what the problem is when you go the stretch center route, there's very few of them that you want to defend five. Brooke Lopez sign and trade would be ideal for this. That's if you want to fuck around with your books, Milwaukee's looking to cut costs, you get third and fourth teams involved. Brooke Lopez is the guy because Kristaps Porzingis just makes too much money. Right. You're trading CJ McCollum at that point. The Wizards have no need for him. You're opening up to 3 and 4 team trades. That gets weird.
Plus, we can't suggest Brooke Lopez here because he's I'm going to use him later, and I feel great about it.
There's very quick. The 2 notes is they could do nothing to this team and still be one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the West if they stay healthy enough. Yep. So but Jackson Hayes or Josh Richardson, who's more likely to be back?
Ooh, I'm going to guess Richardson, even though Hayes is restricted. It just feels like we're done with Jackson Hayes in New Orleans, right?
Yeah, he needs to go somewhere where he can be the 4 on defense and the 5 on offense, and that's just not New Orleans.
Yeah.
They're both probably gone, though.
Right, yeah, most likely.